So today is supposed to be Nolan Wells' birthday. And there's supposed to be a prayer vigil. And what's so crazy, guys, is they're asking for one of Nolan's friends to pretty much come out to this prayer vigil. Now, I feel that none of his friends should show up to this, because at this point, it has become a money grab, a grift, where they're just trying to keep this thing going, so to speak. Because when you think about it, it's like, what are they praying for? Like, he's already gone. He's not coming back. What exactly are they praying for? And why they want the friends to join in? I feel that this whole thing is to help Nolan's mother's political campaign that she's going to be running for. And a lot of people don't understand that. Nolan's mother is a Filipino. She's posing as a black woman. You have a lot of so-called African Americans who are running around claiming that they are helping to celebrate a birthday of Nolan Wells, and he's dead. This is crazy. Like, people are literally celebrating dead people now. Or at least they're acting like they are. What is this prayer visual for? What are they really after? What are they trying to do, ladies and gentlemen? What's really going on? Because none of this stuff makes any sense. They're trying to get one of Nolan's friends to come on out to the visual to pay his respects. That should have been done at the funeral, if you ask me. The friends should have been at the funeral paying their respects, not now. Why are y'all having prayer vigils for? He's dead already. He's been gone. We haven't even gotten the toxicology results or the actually official autopsy results. We haven't even gotten that yet. What is going to a prayer vigil doing for the case of Nolan Wells? What results are we learning? They're dragging this thing on, guys, in order to make more money. They've been using this kid for 2 months and still don't know how he died. Make it make sense, y'all. 2 months and nobody don't know what happened to him? 2 months.
They said today is supposed to be his birthday?
Today, he would be 19.
Oh.
And a lot of black people are going around acting as if Nolan is like a martyr for the black community when he's not even a black kid. He's a Filipino. But they painted him like an African American in order to run this grift. And they've been successful because the parents made literally $1 million. They made $1 million on GoFundMe. Keep in mind, this GoFundMe money is not going towards any legal issues because nobody's being prosecuted. So Ben Crump is not fighting. Ben Crump is basically a civil rights attorney, which means his focus is to get a family money due to compensations and various other things like that. He get paid on the back end. He's not getting paid by going in front of news cameras and doing all of that other stuff. That's not how you get paid as a civil rights attorney.
He's not getting paid from the GoFundMe?
He's not getting paid from that GoFundMe. He get paid from another angle. Remember, he's not a criminal defense attorney. Nobody has been prosecuted for the death of Nolan Wells. So there is no court case. There is no fighting. He's just on his civil rights campaign. So he's not getting paid in terms of money in that regard. He's not getting that. But the family already raised over $900,000 already. $900,000, guys. So all that money goes into the pockets of Nolan's mother and his stepdaddy. So now what they're trying to use is his birthday in order to create more emotion. That's like if every year I'm celebrating my mom's birthday after she passed away. At some point, you got to just stop. Like, it makes no sense.
People can go years and years celebrating someone's death.
That don't make no sense. It's like, if they're dead, just let them rest in peace. Stop trying to keep them here in this miserable world. But what people do is they're capitalizing off of Nolan's death by continually focusing on, we're having a prayer vigil. Prayer for what?
He's gone. He's dead.
What are they praying for? God is not even doing nothing about this case. Let's just keep this real, guys. Because a lot of times when we do this content, nobody is as real as me when it comes to this. In the Nolan Wells case, I want everybody to be honest with themselves. What did God actually do? What did God do in the case of Nolan Wells? Nothing. So, would it be safe for me to say that people are religious when it comes to prayer visuals where they're just doing these things religiously in order to get an emotional rise out of people by making you believe that somehow God is hearing these prayers? God is not doing anything. It's in the mind of people. People are imagining these things. And I think that a lot of us need to really look at what's going on.
I think it's because maybe they trying to feel good about something.
Trying to feel good about what?
By trying to keep his name alive.
Keep his name alive?
Yeah.
I don't understand keeping his name alive. All I see is them trying to make money. That's it.
His name alive.
Well, keeping the story alive.
Yeah. But you know, if people hear the name continuously.
Keeping the story alive by keeping the name alive. But that, to me, if that's the goal, it makes no sense. You're keeping a name alive to make money.
And also to drive the emotions of the people.
Well, they always been driving the emotions. That been the main issue with this Nolan Wells situation is to keep people emotionally invested.
Especially that he's so
Nobody
young.
can hear you. You have to talk up, and you have to look this way.
He's so young, you know. I don't know too much about the story, so I'm just chiming on in.
As you chime in, focus on the audio. If you're looking that way and talking, nobody can hear you.
They can hear me.
When it comes to this situation, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand that a lot of people are emotionally connected to this story, and they can't let go because of the financial aspects of the case. The parents of Nolan Wells, they know that there will never be an arrest for his death because there's no evidence of anybody committing any act of murder. So this story being dragged and dragged and dragged is not going nowhere. It has become a political issue. And this is why I told you guys that Nolan's mother will become a civil rights activist to campaign. I'm telling you guys, I'm the first content creator that told you guys this. And you're going to see it come to pass. Because if she keep talking in front of the public like this, you guys are going to begin to look at her as a political campaign activist, civil rights, this, that. You're going to look at her that way. And because of her son's death, you're going to see it as something of some importance that we need to fight.
Like monumental?
Monumental? Explain yourself.
That it goes down in history.
Goes down in history and
and just to keep his name alive. That this young kid died, and he didn't have any justice.
Justice in what way? Nobody killed him. He just turned up dead, and nobody don't know what happened. If nobody known what happened, how could he get justice? If somebody died, ladies and gentlemen, in a car crash, you died in a car crash. You were speeding. It was raining. You were speeding. The speed limit is 70. It's raining. Rather than you keep your speed at a specific speed and have your hazard lights on, you're flying through traffic, doing 80 in the rain. You end up crashing, your whole family die. Do we need to seek justice in your death? No. You caused your death due to negligence. You were recklessly driving. You had your family with you, and they were not of any concern. So we can't get justice because nobody killed you. So when you look at this particular case with Nolan, he was on a boat. He went out to Horn Island to celebrate the 4th of July. He was with his friends. They were all drinking. The friends made public interviews alleging that he wanted to stay back with a girl. They made no effort to say, hey, bro, you look like you had a little too much to drink. You coming with us. They claimed that they told Nolan multiple times, get on the boat, get on the boat, get on the effing boat. And he didn't want to get on the boat. They end up going back to the mainland. Everybody end up getting back home. Nobody knows what's going on with Nolan. But the friend who had his phone, because again, all the friends that went back, they had Nolan's phone on the boat. So Nolan didn't have no phone. But Warren said that it became like after 12 or somewhere around there, and he was a little concerned about where Nolan is, knowing good and well that he had no phone to reach him. He decides to contact the mother and asks the mother, have you heard from Nolan?
When he have his phone?
When they have his phone.
Wow.
I want you guys to think about that. Then he contacted the Coast Guard. Now keep in mind, you're contacting the Coast Guard and you're contacting Nolan's mother, but you haven't heard from him to know if there's an emergency. That don't sound suspect to you?
So what about the girl that they claim he was with?
Nobody interviewed her yet. And the girl that he was with, she claimed that the last time she heard from him was when she overheard the guys telling him to get on the boat. So basically she's saying, I wasn't with him. But it was Warren who threw her under the bus during the interview on Brandon Tatum's page. Brandon had an interview and Warren said, oh, Nolan was with Katie. He mentioned her name. He didn't have to do that. He could have said that he was with a woman. He was with a young lady. But no, he said he was with Katie specifically. So at the end of the day, if he was with Katie and then Katie says, well, he wasn't with me, then who he was with? So none of Nolan's friends know who he was with or what he was doing. What I see here is there was a freak accident. Something happened and the friends know what happened and they're all in agreement to act like they don't know what happened.
And they have to stick to the story.
And they have to stick to the story. And I believe out of all the friends, Warren may know the most information. Why? Because he was the one that contacted Nolan's mother and the Coast Guard. Nobody else did. To me, that's a red flag.
All over. What the fuck?
That's a red flag to me. That's a red flag. Because he's the only one who contacted the mother. How come none of Nolan's other friends didn't think about his safety? To say, well, damn, where's Nolan? Let me contact his mom. How come none of the other friends contacted the Coast Guard? Nobody else contacted nothing but Warren. That was done to create the alibi.
I'm itching.
That's to create an alibi. You understand? That's to create an alibi of what they want the public to pretty much deal with. In other words, let me tell the world that Nolan was with Katie. Because if I could tell them that he was with Katie, that takes all responsibility off of us. Because we were leaving. That's our alibi. So if anything, you got... Now watch this, guys. Watch this. I think I solved the case again. I think I solved it. I'm the only one on social media that solved the Nolan Wells case. Guys, I got it. I'm going to tell you what happened. Guys, put a 1 in the chat, guys, right now, if you want to know what happened. I know we're not streaming. We're not live. This is pre-recorded, but this is a premiere. Put a 1 in the chat right now if you want to know the truth. I'm going to tell you right now. The whole thing was an alibi. Remember when the boys said that the boat was sinking? During that SUNO call, the dispatch, Vicky, I believe her name was, asked the boys, "Do you want me to call the Coast Guard?" They said no.
No.
And keep in mind, their boat was sinking. Why did they want the Coast Guard? Because if the Coast Guard came there, they would examine the boat. They would investigate what was wrong with it to really know if it was really sinking. I don't think the boat was sinking. I think that they made the call, right? Watch this. Follow me. I believe they made the call to create the alibi. In other words, it's a distraction. Nolan was already gone. Nolan was dead already. But they had to make the call to make it look like our boat was sinking. That's our alibi. Okay, where's video footage of the boat sinking? Because the video footage that they showed the media and the public, that's just the boat getting towed. Where's the actual video of the boat having water in it? Where you see a problem? Have there been an investigation of the boat in terms of the equipment failure and everything else concerning the boat? Because based on the story, Bart was the one who came out there to help tow the boat. And Bart is one of the friends.
So you're saying that they never called the Coast Guard?
They never, it's not about calling the Coast Guard. They called for help. In regards to their boat sinking. Listen, it's an alibi. It's no different than if I murdered somebody at the house, right? Mm-hmm. I murdered somebody at the house. I'm panicking because of what I did, but I need a way out. So instead of running away, I'll contact 911 and say, I'm calling because my car don't start and my kids are whatever, had a seizure. So now what that does, it puts me in a situation where they can't really tie me to the timeline, because why would I call for an emergency about my kid having a seizure? It distracts the case and it puts me in another area where I'm focusing on my kids.
Right.
And because I made a phone call, it becomes a paper trail. So now it's documented that I called the cops. So now people in the public are going to be like, well, if they did murder somebody, why would they call the SUNO people about something if Nolan was dead? Now, it's a distraction. Now, I'm not saying that Nolan was on the boat dead. That's not what I'm saying. What I believe was Nolan already died. And I believe that the friends knew and they wanted to get away, but they needed something in order to make them not be at the crime scene. You get it? So making that call, in my opinion, separates them. Because remember, what did the friends say? They were telling Nolan, get on the boat. Now keep in mind, the boat they're telling him to get on is the boat that's sinking. Think about that. The boat they're telling Nolan to get on is the very boat that's supposed to be sinking. Does that make sense? So in the mind of the listener, we're like, well, maybe Nolan didn't want to get on the boat because it's sinking.
Oh.
Right? Or Nolan was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to be here with this girl. But that don't make sense because the girl said that she wasn't with him, which conflicts with the story the boys made. The boys said the girl was with Nolan. The girl saying Nolan said he was going back on the boat. That's what the girl said. So those are two different narratives. But I believe the boys threw Katie under the bus to be an alibi to not place them with Nolan. In other words, we were leaving. So when we asked Nolan to get on the boat, he didn't want to go. So we just left.
It was out of their hands.
But remember, when the boat was sinking and Vicky, the dispatch lady, was talking to them, she was like, oh, y'all at Horn Island. So they were still at Horn Island. They weren't far out somewhere. So where was Nolan? If they were sinking and they were at Horn Island, where was Nolan? And how come Nolan didn't help his friends if the boat is sinking? Make it make sense, guys. If the boat's supposed to be sinking and his friends are nearby, how come Nolan himself didn't help his friends if the boat was sinking? Make it make sense, y'all. Something happened to Nolan already. He was already dead. Nolan was already dead, y'all. Something happened to him. Somebody know, and they didn't do anything about it. So today's his birthday. He would have been 19, and they're supposed to be having a prayer visual. Matter of fact, I think it starts at 7. So it's supposed to be starting at 7 or 7:30. And they're expecting for Nolan's friend, one of his friends, to be there. And my suggestion to that friend is not to show up, because this prayer visual to me is a ritual. You don't need to be there. You don't have anything to prove. Why they want your energy to be there? You see? Guys, Nolan...
Well, how come it's only one friend?
It's not one friend. It's multiple friends.
I'm saying that's attendant.
It's not one friend attending. Oh. They want one of his friends to attend.
Oh.
They want one of them to attend. He shouldn't attend because there's no need to. Nobody should attend that prayer visual. They're trying to keep the story alive so they can keep the grift going. For real. So guys, we're going to get up on out of here. We're going to come back more live streams later in regards to the case. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe, guys. Nolan Wells was dead when those boys' boat was sinking. He was already dead. If the boat was sinking and it was chaos, if Nolan was one of the friends, he would have went and helped his friends. How come nobody talking about it? The boys were still on the island when they made that call. They'd have been like, yo, Nolan, yo, help, bro. Where was Nolan? Partying? Because he wasn't with Katie. So where was Nolan if the friend's boat was sinking? Guys, an alibi. They made the whole alibi, guys.
Wow.
They made the whole alibi. So guys, we're going to get up on out of here. Rate, comment, and subscribe. You're going to hear a lot of content creators try to steal my talking points. Don't let that happen. Tell them Ringo TV was the one that told you. I'm out. Y'all take care. Peace.
All right.
We out.